All right, so I did promise multiple people and myself that I would document um, the process just because it's good for me to look back. I'm sure it'll be good and helpful for other people. So let me just recap. I got the vertical sleeve gastrectomy. Um, Reason being is because I am more considered morbidly obese. So I'm actually at the heaviest I've ever been, or at least there was another time in my life where I felt like I was probably this heavy as well. And that's 356 pounds as of when I weighed myself last at my last doctor's visit before getting the actual approval for the surgery and then going through and getting the blood tests, making sure I got everything signed off when it came to also a mental health check. I had to go see a psychiatrist to make sure that I'm mentally prepared to be able to even do this, which is a requirement. I had to go and check in with the doctor for at least 6 months because of my insurance and because of just life that extended out to almost a year and a half because of lack of being able to go to the doctor, personal situations, insurance related. Um, Also, I got the runaround when it came to did they consider some of my visits actual visits that met the requirements for my insurance. I had to triple check with my insurance to make sure that everything was covered, properly and approved. Like I had to make sure all of this was taken care of before I even got the surgery. So there's a whole process to that you definitely have to be super patient on. You have to understand what is your goal and, why is it that you're doing this? For me personally, I have tried to lose weight. I have kicked my ass and gotten down to 258 pounds, which was my lowest I've gotten in my adult lifehood, trying my best, doing diets. When I had done that, I was under the keto diet. I also went vegan as well. Like everything and anything that I could do to limit my calories, but also kind of make it interesting, I was willing to try, and I tried. I also did Shakeology, which I'm sure some of you are aware of. I know MLM, whatever, but regardless, I tried it. Beachbody, I did those exercises as well. Went to the gym, I hired a personal trainer. I did that for 6 months, actually, 3 months through Planet Fitness, or sorry, not Planet Fitness, EOS Fitness. And then I also did actually 3 months through my work. My work actually had a a personal trainer that I could go to, and so I went to them about you know 3 to 4 times a week, and I was consistently going to the gym 4 to 5 times a week. Like I'm a dad, and I've got a son, and and I have a wife, and well, a girlfriend at the time, now my wife, and I, did everything that I could, and I just could not lose the weight. And, after all this struggle, luckily I had the same doctor. So I went to him and constantly, did what I could, got with the recommendations that he went with. And then finally he was like, look, I think you right now are the best candidate for this weight loss surgery. There's a couple different options. This one I feel is going to be the best for you. And another reason why, not just for the weight loss, I also was diagnosed with sleep apnea. If you're not familiar with what that is, when you fall asleep, what ends up happening is you stop breathing. And then what ends up happening is you'll gasp for air and then you'll kind of breathe again. But you will actually do that. You'll stop breathing, you know, 50 to 60 times an hour. Like for me, I was in that high percentile, when it comes to sleep apnea, and it's called obstructive or excessive obstructive sleep apnea. So I had to actually get a machine called a CPAP, and I was told that this would help with my sleeping, and it would actually help me lose weight, and I would gain my energy back. Unfortunately, the CPAP works to a certain extent, but I didn't lose weight. It didn't truly help me when it came to my energy. And with the exercise and everything that I was doing, I didn't feel reset. When you do exercises and you work out and you feel good, like I felt good, but then the following day, like I was still drained, and I was still kind of like, I didn't feel like robust. I didn't feel like I was just like boosted with energy. And this included a diet. This wasn't just exercise, it wasn't just dieting, it was both. And, I hadn't had much success. So once the doctor suggested this, I was like, okay, it's a big step. Like surgery is a huge step. And so I did the vertical gastric sleeve. And so essentially what that is here is your stomach, right? Here's your stomach. And, it's kind of a weird shape, because there's your esophagus and there's your stomach, like that. So essentially what the sleeve does is it makes it so that it's kind of like that. Like your stomach, your throat to your stomach, there you go. That's what that is. And, there's still that kind of little valve, your stomach still churns and it's this section. You still have that kind of valve that then goes into your intestines, if you're familiar with that. But that essentially what has happened. So I am now 1 day out from my surgery. Yesterday I had my surgery in the morning, like around 9 o'clock. The surgery literally takes like 45 minutes. And so, so I prepared myself. I got a bunch of the things that I needed. The biggest important thing when it came to my diet and what I had to start kind of preparing for was a liquid diet. Because essentially, once you go to that small stomach, you can't really do and swallow much of anything solid at all, especially because it's healing, right? You literally have chopped your stomach, to such a degree, and you can't even feel it really. So the goal is liquids and proteins, like for this first week. So that's what I'm dealing with right now. Getting out of it, I was super groggy yesterday. So just kind of like feeling like just achy from, the surgery. Because I mean, think about it, it's in that stomach area region. Any sort of aches and pains that you have there, it really kind of destabilizes your whole body, in one way, shape, or form. So I've been dealing with that. My wife was there, luckily, during the day to kind of be there for me. And then I just got to work. Like as soon as I started feeling, good enough to kind of start figuring things out, then I had to deal with like, okay, liquids. Can I handle liquids and how much? And so I went from like a small amount, I had to work my way up to an ounce. And the way that you do it is you take a sip as if you're sipping on a hot chocolate or really hot coffee, just like that's the amounts that I've had to go through and go with to kind of keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. And little by little, like I could barely do an ounce, like an ounce, small amount within an hour. And I worked myself up to 2 ounces that first day, luckily. And that first day, I started walking, and they were actually pretty amazed. They're like, "Oh my gosh, like that's great! Like you're walking already." And for me, it was like, "Look, this is the rest of my life. I'm gonna have to get used to walking and consistently moving, anyways. Let's do it day one, like point blank. Let's start this out right." So, I I pushed myself, but I didn't. I pushed myself in the way that like I set goals for myself when it came to those slow sips and getting those ounces in and be able to really kind of like get through it. But I never pushed myself more than I could handle. I definitely tried to feel out my body because this whole process, I need to understand my body. I need to know, like, if I sip too fast, how does my body react? If I drink too much, how does my body react? Um, if I haven't drunk enough water, how does my body react? I have to consider also, dehydration. I have to consider the amount of protein that I take in. So my goals are, well, essentially the goals they give you are 90 grams of protein and 90 ounces of fluid a day. Now, this first week and these first couple of days, it's I have to challenge myself to get to that level. But if I don't get there within the first day or two, that's okay. There, you're trying to work yourself up and kind of work that muscle, get your body used to kind of where you're at. And right now, your body is still acclimating, like 24 hours. I mean, seriously, right? After a surgery, after cutting that stomach down to the size it is, your body is really trying to figure things out. So mentally, I'm doing my best to kind of ease my body into it. And that's where I'm at right now. Um, I've been taking my protein shakes. Now I've been able to get to 4 ounces or 8 ounces really. I had to be able to do 4 ounces of a regular protein shake um, within an hour to be released. And luckily, last night, and early this morning, I challenged myself. I was like, dude, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna work my way, get it, pound, sip it, sip it, sip it, every 15 minutes. Like I was tracking that clock, and I did it. And then I did it 3 times this morning. So they're like, oh my God, you're doing amazing. You're walking, you're doing this, like you're doing the protein. All right, you can go. In some cases, apparently, depending on how things go, people stay more than just one night. They stay 2 nights possibly. So luckily, I worked hard. I set my goals and I made it out. Now I'm just slow sipping my proteins. I've got protein shake powders. Like there's different kinds you can get. There's flavored powders and there's also actually non-flavored powders. So my wife bought me a bunch of different like Gatorades. We've got bone broth soup, which is another kind of clearish liquid, low sodium, organic bone broth soups, so that I can have something warm. Because for some people, cold, lukewarm, or hot works best for them when it comes to easing that stomach. And for me, the weirdest thing is that lukewarm actually is the like my body just it feels like, no, I don't know what you're doing, but no, don't give me this. So cold and hot, like warm, like more than warm temperature bone broth, both of those have seemed to actually been good, and my stomach's like, okay, I can handle this. This you can give me. And luckily we've got that. We've got some bone broth and some powdered shakes, and so now I can actually do like almond milk, and I can do slightly not so clear liquids today because I got to that point because I worked myself up to do it. So I'm glad because what's really interesting is that I did a mix of almond milk and the non-flavored protein mix that you can add in. I can add in a scoop and I mix it up, and boom, I got my protein and I've got my liquids. So I did that, and what's really interesting is it actually kind of tastes like pancake mix, like not like a light, not like a super thick, but really light kind of mix, but it tastes like pancake mix. I don't know, but I'm enjoying it. So this first day is going well, and I'm constantly moving around. I'm constantly standing up because you also have to be aware of how you drink your liquids, because that that stomach and that your throat to stomach is just kind of basically a funnel or just a straight tube. You have to sit up straight, and you know you have to not slouch or anything, or else it'll actually upset you. Like I was sitting back once yesterday, and I tried, and I felt upset. I was like, oh, what's going on? And then once they told me, I was like, Oh, okay, that makes sense. So, for me, it's just easier. I just decided to just stand whenever I want to drink something. I just stand. Luckily, I've got a stand-up desk behind me. That's perfect, so I can, just kind of get caught up with whatever I'm doing. But I can surf the web and I can slow sip on my drinks, standing up vertically, straightened, so I don't have to worry about any digestive issues. So right now, the biggest thing is gas, which everybody is going to prepare you for. Everybody's going to tell you about one way or another, either belching or passing gas. One way or another, it's going to happen. It's going to build up unless you walk around. So I have definitely been on my feet, walking around as much as possible, and on also doing breathing exercises, because another side effect is that with this type of surgery, it is prone for people to get pneumonia. So what you have to do is you have to do breathing exercises to be able to kind of release as much oxygen as you can and breathe in as much oxygen as you can to kind of inflate and deflate your lungs, so that it kind of it expands your and kind of recreates that section of your inner cavity that you have. Because when you do the surgery, they actually pump your inner cavity full of air. So that, cavity where all your organs are actually in, just kind of like sloshing around. Yeah, they pump air in there, which is why they have to have you walk around so much, which is why you have gas. So walking around helps uh, allow you to kind of move that gas around and get it somewhere to where it can actually go out. And then the breathing exercise, so that one, you can kind of refill that section of your cavity where your lungs should be proper, and to prevent pneumonia as well. So, yeah, so that's the recap so far. I think today's video is going to be the longest because I didn't do any sort of video prior to this. This is my first one. So, I just wanted to fill you guys in. I'm feeling good. I'm happy about my decision, and I look forward to this journey ahead. This is my new chapter, and I'm not giving up. I'm gonna go 100% on this, just like I've done before. Now, this just gives me a leg up, to get to where I need to get to, but it's gonna add years on my life, and that's exactly what I want. I want a healthy life, and I'm glad I made the decision. It was a tough one, but it is what it is. You have to look at yourself. You have to realize, like, what am I going to do? Am I going to just give up, or am I going to fight? And I decided I'm going to fight. Like, I've got a kid, I got a wife, I got a house. What's not to fight for, right? I mean, yeah, we're in a pandemic, right? I mean, shoot. But even more of a perfect time to, pull yourself together. I mean, how much lower can you get when you're dealing with literally a worldwide pandemic and, like, all the climate change that's going on, and, like, oh my God, unemployment, and all the challenges. You know what? How about I do this? How about I get my own little personal victory that I can control, that I can manage, and I can have successes and victories, all that stuff. I'm definitely looking forward to. So, yeah, it is what it is. I think most of you know me, so I was bound to cry, I'm sure, at one point or another, but I'm happy. And that's what matters. So, first video, on to the next. I'll maybe tomorrow as well. We'll go over some stuff, and I'll just kind of actually show you guys, like, instead of just tell you, because that'll be a little bit more entertaining, I'm sure. So, but yeah, and then who knows what else? Like, we'll see. Like, maybe I'll show you guys, like, besides my diet, maybe my fitness regime, show you guys some other stuff like that. But yeah, All right. Take care, you guys. Have any questions, by all means, message me. You have me on Facebook, Messenger, or text. By all means, I'm more than happy to answer any questions you guys have, since I'm the one who's gone through the journey so far. And I look forward to new updates in the future and all those successes. So, thank you guys again for your support. Appreciate you all. Take care.